do you have a breakup of the TAM, SAM, SOM for your sector? And I just want to dive into it just for people to know what this industry looks like.
So look, there's two ways to calculate this.
Right.
One is you go bottom up.
Right.
And second is you go top down.
Right.
I'll tell you the bottom up approach very quickly.
Perfect.
Because we've done both. Bottom up would be like finding the number of users that exist, who would be there for the product, and what their average annual spend on this would be, like their ARPU.
Yeah.
Average revenue per user. Like you look at it annually, how much would it be, and then multiply it and figure out on what that number is. So in that sense, like there's a lot of people that exist. So we started looking at like everything. How many creators are there? How many Instagram users are there in India? How many YouTubers are there? How many gamers are there? How many mobile gamers are there? How many PC gamers are there? How many work from homers are there? Then we went on to how many photographers are there. Like all of these become like different user bases.
I'm loving this, by the way. Yeah.
So, and then now for social media, how do we look at the number of users? So we looked at YouTube users, Instagram users, Snapchat users, ShareChat users. Within each of these user bases, what is the overlap of all? Like, because there's an overlap, like 50-60% overlap between Instagram and YouTube. So then there's a unique user base there. Between ShareChat and this, there's hardly any overlap.
Right. And where do you get this data?
MAU, DAU, you get online. Like you can,
Correct.
You can estimate based on that. Within that, there is obviously like spends. You can do it via surveys. Like just talk to people and figure out like how much do they spend on peripherals per year.
Right.
So we took a very average estimate, like $20. I mean, like 1,500 rupees per year.
Right.
On just peripherals. And that user base, even if it's like 20 million, directly that number becomes very big.
Right.
That number. So this was bottom up. Now, I mean, for VC purposes and for
for anyone trying to understand the size of this or estimate the size of this industry.
I mean, adding it up, because there's so many like assumptions in this, and I've literally made a matrix of this, which is because that user base could be anything between say 20 million to 40 million, and because there's a lot of people end up using the products, and because it's not only the gamer crowd that ends up using it, it's everyone across the board. It's like saying that Mamaearth made like a shampoo for babies, women, but men also use it now. Like a lot of people use it.
Right.
So a lot of people end up being there, and then the spend per annum also changes. Like
Right.
it can be $5 to $20.
Right.
So 400 rupees to 1,500 rupees, 2,000 rupees. Based on that, I mean, adding up all these users, that TAM could be anything between 500 million to like 950 million. So obviously when we at least look at it, we're like, it should be the higher side. That is on the bottom up. There's also a second way to calculate bottom up, which is you look at the revenues of all the existing players.
Right.
So we looked at every single one of them and spoke to marketplaces also on how much are these guys doing. Zebronics, looked at them, 1,500 crores, 1,300 crores, sorry, they do per annum.
Right.
So like this, there are lots of them. Then there's top down, which is
that's more
research based.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
This much is doing this.
No, I think
much,
this is more
much.
realistic. Even I would consider a bottom-up approach to be a lot more
Yeah.
relevant.
Yeah.
Right. Like just when you're estimating anything internally from a decision-making standpoint.
Correct. That becomes your TAM. Now
Right.
that is like literally every single user out there. Now I have to look at like my category only.
Right.
Like I'm only aiming for say gamers over here right now.
Right.
That becomes my serviceable category. Right.
And which is a percentage.
Which is like a percentage of the user base which I've already calculated.
Right.
Like I'm looking at, because within that SAM would be like only premium category people.
Right.
That
So your SAM is premium gamers.
Premium gamers, like casual premium. It won't be like the value-based gamers. So my TAM would include even value-based gamers who would buy like a Zebronics, which makes value products. That would also include like a lot of value products, third-party resellers, etc. I don't fall there. Mine falls into this category of people who would buy more premium products.
Right.
So that would end up being my SAM.
Right.
And then SOM becomes a percentage of what I think is achievable by me.
Right.
Like that's a
from a market share point.
From a market share standpoint.
Right.
And that is also like a realistic number that I can get to. How do I know that? If I have enough listings on a marketplace,
Right.
then I can only get to this much. 50% of it doesn't make
I feel
sense.
SOM is a more evolving number based on timeline, right? Like
today
your SOM might be very limited.
5%, 10%.
Correct. Eventually 25%,
Exactly.
30%.
And that could also evolve with that concrete number could also evolve with your TAM growing.
Right.
Like year on year.
Amazing.
Yeah.